Welcome back to another week of our Onefootball Power Rankings, where we look at the 10 most informed players around Europe, as well as some winners and losers of the week. But where will last week's number one position and which Leicester defender has managed to fight his way into the top 10? That's what we'll be finding out in the next few minutes, so let's get stuck into it. First off though, we have our winners and losers of the week. As for my losers of the week, well, first off, we have Virgil van Dijk. He hasn't had the best week overall, as he was part of Liverpool's defeat to Manchester City, which saw them close the gap on Liverpool in the title race, and he also sat out the game as Liverpool crashed out of the FA Cup to Wolves. Now, I know most of you will be thinking, well, surely that's not enough to drop out the top 10, but he wasn't so highly placed last week, and with some others doing pretty well, he drops out. Technically not a loser, but still not doing as good as he was last week. The real loser of this week is Neymar, coming back from Christmas with a cool new haircut in the form of dreadlocks, only to find out they weren't very practical and cut them off a week later. What a muppet. As for the winner of the week, well, it has to be Gabriel Jesus. I know Manchester City were only playing Burton in the League Cup, but you still have to be there to find the back of the net, and he did it 4 times. Now, of course, as you guys know, we take the last 5 games to an overall form to find out who's been the best player. Gabriel Jesus scored 4 in 1 game. It's not enough to get him into the top 10, but it is enough for him to be our winner of the week. But before we jump into this week's number 10, let's remind ourselves how the table looked in last week's power rankings. In at number 10 was Cardiff goalkeeper Neil Etheridge. After some fantastic performances in their Christmas period, Cristiano Ronaldo closed the first half of the Serie A season sitting at number 9. Spurs midfielder and Real Madrid target Christian Eriksen was in at number 8. Crystal Palace Vicente Guaita was in at number 7, with Chelsea's Eden Hazard at number 6. The top 5 saw Harry Kane in 5th position, Marcus Rashford and Paul Pogba taking up 4th and 3rd with their new lease of life under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Son Heung-min was in 2nd position, and at number 1 was Liverpool's Mohamed Salah. So let's jump into this week's power rankings, and unfortunately for Liverpool fans, because the Liverpool-Manchester City game was last Thursday, it meant that your team had 2 chances to either do well or do poorly in the power rankings, and unfortunately it's been the latter. In at number 10 and dropping down from number 1 last week is Mo Salah. Again, this probably isn't entirely his fault, but in the biggest games you need to deliver. And last Thursday against Manchester City, he did absolutely nothing. Again, not saying it's completely his fault, as the rest of the team had to do more around him, but he did not do much in the game overall. He didn't contribute anything, and he didn't do much when he came on against Wolves in the FA Cup. So 2 poor performances have knocked him way down the list, but he just manages to cling on to a number 10 spot because of all the goals he scored in the games before that. And in at number 9 is what I mentioned earlier in the video, and it's the Leicester defender Ricardo Pereira. Is this unexpected? Yes. Is this deserved? Absolutely. He's been part of the fantastic Leicester side that over the Christmas period beat Chelsea away, beat Manchester City at home, in which he scored, and beat Everton away. Now, I know he sat out of the Newport game, during which they actually lost in the FA Cup, but his fantastic form in what has been a brilliant Leicester defence recently means that he enters the top 10 for the first time this season. However, it might be the last. And now to number 8, and it's Bernardo Silva, who looks to be taking over the mantle of his namesake David Silva. In the last few weeks, he has been fantastic, contributing 4 assists and a goal in Manchester City's games, and looks to be the natural heir to the throne of David Silva. I'm not saying David Silva's past it, not by any means. He's still a fantastic player, but with his advancing years, Pep Guardiola will have one eye on the future, much like he does with Fernandinho in the centre midfield as well. Bernardo Silva looks to be filling that role excellently and sits in at number 8. In at number 7 is Paul Pogba, whose fantastic form under new boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has seen him hold on to a place in at number 7. He scored fantastic back-to-back doubles, and we spoke about it last week. He was the first player to do it since Wayne Rooney almost 7 years ago. And for that reason, his form has been good enough to find himself in the top 10. But I do expect him to be kicking on and placing even higher within the next few weeks if he can keep this kind of form up. In at number 6 is Paul Pogba's teammate Marcus Rashford, who again is another one who's had a brilliant start under the new manager at Old Trafford. Now, he's only got 3 goals in his last 5 games, and you're probably thinking that's not amazing for a striker. However, someone who's now been given the privilege of being Manchester United's main striker, as said by his manager at the moment, well, that's something pretty difficult to get used to. I'm not saying he doesn't have the talent, but it is an awful lot of pressure, especially with £75 million man Romelu Lukaku breathing down your neck. As for the moment, Rashford's been key in all of Manchester United's attacking play with his dribbling, his pace and all of his skills. His finishing has been pretty good along the way, and he sits in at number 6. Now we enter the top 5, where we start off with England's captain, Harry Kane. In the last 5 games, Harry Kane has 5 goals. That's pretty much what you want from your striker, and he's doing it in exemplary fashion. The other night, he scored a somewhat controversial penalty against Chelsea to give Spurs the edge in the League Cup semi-final over Chelsea. This is also pretty good form from Kane, considering that he plays every single minute of almost every single game. This is mainly due to the fact that Spurs don't have a backup striker, but Kane's keeping himself fit and in the goals, so credit where credit's due. In at number 4 is someone who's completely turned his form around after rumours that he was set to leave the club despite just signing 18 months ago. Barcelona's Ousmane Dembélé has been called everything under the sun, and mostly by his manager. He's been called lazy, with the wrong attitude, and a nuisance. This is basically because he wasn't really turning up to training, and when he did, he wasn't putting in all his effort. However, within the last month or so, something has clicked, and Ousmane Dembélé has been on fire. He's probably close to being one of the first names on the team sheet, alongside Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. He had a fantastic role to play in the win over Getafe despite not getting on the score sheet, but in the games before that he had a few goals and assists, and it's just all round been a menace in the attack. But now we come to the top 3, and last week's number 2 now finds himself at number 3. It's Heung-min Son of Spurs. He will definitely be a key miss for Spurs as he heads off to the Asian Cup with South Korea. But as for his recent form, well, it's no surprise to see him near the top. He was nominated for December's Player of the Month as well, and it's not without due cause. Son has an incredible 3 goals and 4 assists in his last 5 games, and much like Harry Kane, put in a decent performance as Spurs took the edge in the League Cup semi-final. This will obviously be a game that he misses, along with the games against Manchester United and the next round of the FA Cup, so Spurs will be hoping that other players can step in to Son's brilliant boots. And now our runner-up this week, and it is Atletico Madrid forward who banged in a fantastic free kick at the weekend and took his goal tally to 5 in the last 4, as well as helping Atletico into 2nd position in La Liga. It's Antoine Griezmann. Now I must say, ever since Griezmann turned down the opportunity to move to Barcelona, he's really gone up in my estimation. He's shown fantastic loyalty to Atletico and to Diego Simeone, and it appears that both sides of that argument are reaping the rewards from it. Griezmann can't stop finding the back of the net, and his free kick at the weekend was awesome. If you guys haven't seen that, you should definitely check it out, and he deservedly takes the runner-up spot in this week's Power Rankings. Now, in at number 1, I know it's going to be no surprise to you, and I know you're going to have so much to say, so don't forget to leave all of your comments in the comment section down below. What you thought of this week's top 10, who should be in, who should be out, and of course, it's Lionel Messi. Now, I know most of you are going to say, oh, you're just a Messi fanboy, you're just putting him in there because you love him and Barcelona. Nope, it's got absolutely nothing to do with that. If you're going to talk about the comparison with Ronaldo, you can't at the moment because Ronaldo and Juventus aren't playing because Serie A's on a break. So he wouldn't even be considered for this top 10. As for why Lionel Messi is top of the list, well, 7 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 games should go some way to helping you figure out as to why he sits atop of the tree. Apart from this, he's been in fantastic form just in general in the matches. His passing is key for Barcelona, and even when he's not doing anything, opposition defenders are so scared of him it gives space to the rest of the Barcelona team. Again, leave your comment section down below whether or not you think this is deserved, but you can't really disagree with the stats. So there you have it, this week's top 10. As mentioned before, let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you're new around here, don't forget to smash that subscription button. We'll be here with the Power Rankings every single Thursday, along with loads of other content throughout the week on Onefootball, which coincidentally you can check out right here. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.